For RCR Wireless News, I'm Sean Kinney. Dennis, Christina, it's a pleasure to join you here on the Dell stand at Mobile World Congress, and I'm looking forward to talking about telecom transformation. Before we get into it, could we introduce yourselves, Christina?
Sure. I'm Christina Rodriguez, Vice President and General Manager of the Communication Solutions Group at Intel.
And I'm Dennis Hoffman. I'm the SVP and General Manager of Dell Technologies Telecom Systems business.
All right, so transformation, it's a word that means a lot of things. So I'd like to get some perspective from both of you, maybe grounded in the world of telecommunications for communication service providers, and beyond the network and the technology stack, also curious what it means to transform from an organizational and a workflow perspective. Christina, can we start with you?
Sure. First of all, it's a fantastic opportunity that we have, transforming the network to be a software-defined, cloud-based, server-based architecture. And it means doing things a little bit different, and that means also from the operation point of view, having a little bit of a mindset shift. Is still super important, all the skill set that we had before, so the radio skill set has to be there, the network skill set has to be there, but now we have additional skill set, the cloud environment portion of it, the fact that there is a more close IT, software, network development, so it's just more opportunities, more possibilities and innovation in the network.
Yeah, Dennis, what do you think about when you say transformation?
If you change an architecture from vertical architecture to a horizontal architecture, to think that the humans that actually operate the architecture don't have to change the way they're organized and their job descriptions, skill sets as well would be silly. And unfortunately, as technologists, we sometimes do that. We get excited about new architectures and new technologies, not always taking into account the human factors that have to change. So by talking about telecom transformation, we're trying to talk about the whole thing, the business transformation, the technology transformation, and of course, ultimately, the people and process.
Okay, so I think we've got a good baseline for what it is, so now let's talk about how you do it. Dennis, one of the big announcements from Dell at Mobile World Congress was this 4-step telecom transformation program. Can you share some of the details with us?
Yeah, sure, it's a suite of services, effectively, that we've learned and leveraged from enterprise IT. I mean, the cloud transformation concept's been going on for a while, right? It's kind of verticalized architecture giving way to an infrastructure service with some sort of virtualization layer or containerization layer running a series of cloud native applications. Turns out you have to figure out what those are, plan it, then you have to implement that as an architecture and an org redesign. Then that org redesign needs to be either supported or lifecycle managed or enhanced with outside resources. And ultimately, you could manage it as a managed service from a vendor. So for us, the 4-step process is really kind of planning, building, ultimately managing, running, and supporting, and then if the customer desires, turning it back over to them at the end.
And this is something, it's not just RAN, it's not just core, it spans the whole network from core all the way out to far edge. So Christina, I was hoping you could maybe give us some perspective on where your customers are today in terms of the core transition to 5G standalone. Then also would love to hear from you about how you're thinking about this edge AI opportunity.
Yeah, no, you said something very important. One of the things that we're bringing is the possibility, the option to have the same platform. In fact, our motto, I'm going to say this, or our tagline this year is one platform, endless possibilities. So you have a server architecture, and we have a fantastic partnership with Dell, super happy about everything we have been doing, but it's one server that you can have in the entire network, again, from core to the edge. So you mentioned the standalone in the standalone in the core is gradually coming up. And of course, this is important. It's important, for example, to enable applications such as network slicing, which I think is going to be fantastic for the, for our customers. So that's happening, and then in the edge side, again, and the AI, we are launching this year. This year, we're launching the Xeon 6 SoC. And now that's bringing more capacity, more power consumption savings, and then also AI built in. So now you can have at the edge all the AI inference that you can possibly need, you can have it there.
And then further on this AI point, Dennis, I guess my perception of it is Dell's got a lot of experience from the enterprise IT side of the house that's applicable to telecom, but it generally seems like this transition from AI as a point solution to AI as a system level solution that cuts across the business. But how do you get from one to the other?
Through the process of telecom transformation. I think at the end of the day, AI has become this really interesting catalyst to get the architects of telecommunications networks to think about, geez, what happens when I start putting in technologies that don't come from traditional telecom vendors? But now I'm trying to leverage artificial intelligence, whether it's in the network to make the network better, or on the network for new revenue opportunities. They now have to start to think about platform again. And I think you're exactly right. Whenever stuff starts out, it'll start pretty point solution vertical, and then immediately after one or two of those, people start to ask the question, gosh, this is going to be pretty hard to maintain over time, it's costly. Wouldn't a platform horizontal approach be better? And we tend to morph into it. The interesting thing is these two forces are colliding right now, right? The AI and telecom modernization. And to the point Christina's made, it's brought up a lot of very interesting questions, and I think some very good answers from Intel about the right way to tackle it with a consistent platform from core to edge to RAN, because it's easier to transform starting in the core, right? The RAN is a very high-powered, high-complexity workload that is extraordinarily distributed. The core you can kind of get your arms around and get these new operating models and architectures in place, and then use that as a template to extend through the network.
Excellent. Well, I think you've given us a lot of really valuable perspective here, so I'd maybe ask just for some summary thoughts, and also curious how you all are thinking about continuing your collaboration long-term to support your customers through this transformation process. Christina?
Well, we have, as I said before, we have had a fantastic collaboration for so many years, and I would say we just started, and it's been many years, so many years more to come. There is a lot that we can do together, and there is a lot that we are doing together, and bringing the best outcome for the operators. At the end of the day, we look at it and say, how can we bring the biggest value? How can we help the operators to have the best outcome, from power consumption to all the kind of features, to bring in AI again and get the best out of it in the entire network, from core, RAN, edge. So yes, working with the rest of the ecosystem, much more to come.
Yeah, I think the only thing I could add to that is another ingredient of this telecom transformation soup is ecosystem maturity. The ecosystem has to continue to mature. We as suppliers to the industry have to bring them new technologies that can do more. And the software side of the house needs to become more fully cloud native and not, so bespoke and special. It takes time, but it's with really deep collaboration with trusted partners that I think we get there faster. And obviously Intel and Dell have a huge history in that regard.
Excellent. Well, Christina, Dennis, thank you so much for your time here at Mobile World Congress. It's a pleasure to catch up with you.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you, Sean.